Hey everybody, this is the Esoteric Cross. I make videos about how to gain your personal power while learning ancient secrets, and if that sounds like something that you're into, please hit the like button and subscribe and gain insight from this perspective in the cosmos. In this video, we will be discussing the esoteric symbolism of Christmas. We're going to talk a little bit about the history of this holiday, how it relates to Jesus, the Zodiac, and other mythical traditions. We will discuss the importance of the symbolism of the sun, and we will dive into how this is representing consciousness. The history of Christmas is really interesting, and we can see similar ideas of this holiday celebrated in many cultures throughout history. When you look into it, you can see that this is closely related to the Roman holiday around the winter solstice. The Roman feast of Saturnalia, honoring the god Saturn, was a celebration that coincided with the winter solstice. During Saturnalia, all of the social classes exchanged gifts. Some of these gifts symbolized the original sacrifices of human beings. Additionally, the Romans celebrated the days following the solstice by honoring Mithras, an ancient Persian god of light. The significance is that light begins increasing again after the winter solstice, and this is about the rebirth or the return of the light. What I think is even more interesting is that the celebration of this goes back even before the Romans. It goes back to Babylon, in fact. There was this festival that was meant to celebrate the beginning of the year. It celebrated Marduk conquering over chaos. And this festival lasted 12 days and was a reenactment of this mythical battle. In this reenactment, the king was meant to symbolize Marduk. The people sacrificed a criminal as a mock version of the king. The sacrifice of the criminal was meant to spare their real king, and they were nice enough to even set free one prisoner for balance. This festival, with its themes of sacrifice and rebirth, laid the groundwork for later religious ceremonies like the Passover and Easter. We're going to go back to the Roman tradition for a minute because this is actually where we see the closest relationship to what we know of today as Christmas. December 25th was viewed as the birthday of the sun god, Sol Invictus, as well as Mithras, the Persian sun god. This tradition of Mithras was even brought over to Rome from Persia. Eventually, Christianity became the religion of Rome. The Church of Rome chose December 25th as the date to celebrate Christ's birth, coinciding with the pagan festival of Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun god. This was to integrate pagans into Christianity by incorporating existing traditions and beliefs. So we can see how the Christian traditions and beliefs are coming from this Roman tradition. And the connection between the Roman and the Greek traditions are extremely obvious, and when we trace it back, we can see the same ideas existing within ancient Egypt. In Christianity, we have the archetype of the mother and the child represented by the Virgin Mary and Jesus. This archetype of the mother and child goes back through these other mythic traditions. The possible origins of the Christmas tree are very interesting, and this goes back to Babylonian culture. There's the story of the king named Nimrod, who died, and his mother stated that a full-grown evergreen tree appeared from a dead tree stump. This symbolizes the new life of Nimrod. The mother would leave gifts at the tree on Nimrod's birthday, which comes as no surprise to be December 25th. We will unpack the significance of the new life and the date of December 25th a little bit later in this video, but first I want to dive a little bit deeper into the Roman festivity of Saturnalia. Saturnalia was an important holiday in the early first millennia. It was centered around the honoring and the worship of the god Saturn. This is the god who rules over discipline, karma, time, and lessons. The Romans viewed him as a god of abundance, and most importantly, he was viewed as the god of renewal and liberation. During Saturnalia, people would gather at the temple of Saturn where there was a big sacrifice. The festival lasted several days. Other than the public sacrifice, this festival included feasts, partying, gift-giving, and much like the Babylonian tradition, it was common to elect a king of Saturnalia. There was also a role reversal at this time. Slaves would act as the masters and would be allowed to talk back. Of course, not everyone would follow the same tradition. The key here is that this was a way of reinforcing people into social control by exercising a sense of freedom or play. It's almost as if modern-day Christmas is used to reinforce people under social control as well. Now, these are describing the origins of this holiday before it became exactly what it is today. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the esoteric significances of the holiday. We need to get into the wheel of the Zodiac to explore this. This is a fascinating concept that is extremely old, and this knowledge has been passed down through many traditions and has been encoded within religions and civilizations for thousands of years. Think about the number 12 and where you see this. It's everywhere. 12 grades in school in America, 12 makes a dozen, 12 gods and goddesses of Olympus, 12 inches in a foot. There's a 12 steps program, 12 months in the calendar year, 12 disciples, 12 tribes of Israel, and of course the 12 days of Christmas. 12 this and 12 that. Some people will talk about the 13th zodiac sign and make a big deal about that, but this boils down to mathematics and how 12 can be broken down. 12 can be divided into 4 parts, creating the 4 seasons or the 4 elements. 12 can be broken down into 36 and 72, which is extremely important. If you want to know more information about the Zodiac, check out my video titled, "No, the Zodiac is really not what you think," and you can click the top right corner of this video to watch that if you'd like. The bottom line here is that the Zodiac is representing the wheel of the year in the cycle of the sun. It shows us how life on Earth responds to the cycle of the sun, and it does that with the 4 seasons. Now, this is from the point of view of the Northern Hemisphere, because most of the Earth's population is in the Northern Hemisphere, and this is where these ideas originate. The sun is representing the Son of God, S-U-N. This is the light of the world, the truth. The sun is the essence that is forever giving life to the earth. The earth represents the body. I hope by now that you realize this is clearly an allegory for you and how you operate. The sun represents consciousness, or the exalted aspect of the sun represents Christ consciousness, as the earth represents the body. Consciousness is the source of life to this body. The body, aka Earth, is at the cross of this zodiac, hence the symbolism of the cross. The body is where the suffering is, and this is where we make sacrifices in the name of the higher states of consciousness. The sun moves through each of these zodiac signs, and the significance of each of them highlights an important aspect of the year. Jesus Christ, aka the Sun, moves through these 12 zodiac signs, or the 12 disciples, and embodies them. The earth responds. We have important aspects along this wheel, like the spring equinox, the summer solstice, the autumn equinox, and the winter solstice. We also have holidays that are put in the middle of these seasons, for example, Halloween. Let's get into the significance of the winter solstice and how it relates to the concept of the birth of these solar deities. The winter solstice happens on December 21st. Again, it's important to note that this concept is viewed from the northern hemisphere. After the autumn equinox, the tilt of the earth makes it so that the sun is shining more on the southern hemisphere. From the perspective of the northern hemisphere, it would appear that the sun is moving farther south every day. This makes it so that there is less daylight each day, until we reach December 21st. This will be when we have the shortest daylight of the year. Since we have less sun, it will become colder, and the trees lose their leaves. Many plants and crops die. The sun appears to not move back north again for about 3 days. Around December 25th, the sun will raise a degree north again. This holiday symbolizes the return of the sun. In 3 months, spring will happen again, and everything will begin to be fruitful again. So, in summary, this time of year is an allegory for reaching the darkness, overcoming it, and celebrating the return of the light. It's after December 25th that we will increasingly experience just a little bit more daylight each day. Another interesting thing is that when we have this winter solstice, the sun crosses into the sign of Capricorn, which is ruled by the planet Saturn. This is connecting us back into the Saturn energies, which makes sense why Saturnalia would be celebrated around this time of the year. I hope that this is clear that this is an allegory for consciousness and how it goes through this cycle. If you want more information on this, I highly recommend checking out some of my other videos on the Zodiac as well as Ceremonial Magick. With that said, let's talk about some of the ways that you can harness the energy of this time of the year for your own benefit. If you already perform ceremonial magic, then working with certain rituals may be a great idea for this time of the year, especially ones that are focusing on banishing. If there are some things that you really want to banish from your life, like poverty, issues, negative energy, then focusing on these intentions will be fantastic when working your way up to December 25th. After that, it would be a great time to start setting resolutions and goals. It's no wonder that we have a new year soon after that also holds the tradition of setting goals and resolutions. This time of the year is great for facing the darkness that we have. It's not uncommon for our own shadows to be revealed to us. Take advantage of that and face what they are trying to show you. It's a great time of year to honor the light that will be returning into your life. This is commonly personified through solar deities, but remember, it just represents the light of your consciousness. This vital life force energy is increasing after Christmas, so it might not be a bad idea to honor that aspect in whatever way that looks like for you. Make sure to check out the link in the description below to see what courses I offer, and if you want to work one-on-one with me, I do offer coaching as well. There are links in the description to this as well as to where you can book a tarot reading with me. I also have the link for my Patreon if you're interested in some live streams. And I hope there was something new that you were able to take away from this video. If so, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.